beginning of 2016, that whole year, 2016, 2017, is when I really start saying, okay, now maybe let's see if I got the balls for it. So the album is Kionjo, Love, Life, and Praise. So again, it documents a moment in my time in my life when I am, still in charge, still exploring and discovering what love means. Now I need to be loved, okay. Now I need to love, okay. It's really my discovery stage project. The reason why I call it Kionjo is really because I believed it was me saying, I'm not ready, but I have something. Let's see, Also, I had too many songs I had written at the time. I forgot to mention that I was in another duo group sometime before the band.
Before, not the one after Zaza.
No, before, really. Yeah, so that happens, and then Kionjo is birthed. Kionjo, like I said, was written for my album, for my band, and then we produced it together. And it was because I wrote all the music and I sort of executive produced the project. I knew I wanted to attach the real story behind the songs, and it was really that we're experimenting, we're discovering, we're in this space now. So that's why like I remember I didn't want it to be a completely love album or an album that talks about like lifestyle issues. It was a concoction, because at the time also I felt like I myself was a concoction. I do actually have favorites in the album. One would be Mapema, Tulifika Mapema, because for me what I was saying in that song is that although I've just begun this journey, I know I'm gonna get to the thing that I need to get to. And it was really motivation, but it's also such a feel-good jam. It's like, you're really manifesting without manifesting, without saying, now I am manifesting. So I guess that's the genius of it. And then just how it came along, gosh. How I wrote Mapema. I remember there was, so the producer, his name is Karanja. He says, okay, now we're at the stage of the album where we need to move from this mid-tempo vibe, because the songs I had written at the time were very mid-tempo. And then I was like, okay, now I want you to try something different. So I was like, okay, if that's the case, I also need your help. So help me help you. So we start making the beat together. And then I'm like, okay, let me go do my homework. And the song is amazing. That's the first time I felt like, oh my God, I have something that I, really feel like other people will relate to. Mass, it wasn't very niche. I was like, this one is quite mass, friendly. And then we made the music together. I invited my other band members to learn the song, and then we fell in love with it. Honestly, we were all in love with it. My other favorite song is Gide, which is my oh my God, it's my first Kikuyu song. It's the first.
Kikuyu.
Yes, I was like, what? Ancestors, we have to represent. So it was the first song I ever wrote in Kikuyu, and it turned out to be great. Story behind Give is that again on this discovery journey, I decide that I've not met the one. I'm now starting to think, the world is telling me the one. I'm like, what is this now? So I remember that I was like, okay, so now what happens when I meet the one, right? So Give is Kikuyu for Kumbe, Allah, it's. So, and I always imagined that was going to be my expression when I meet someone who I'm like, it is you. You have arrived. The one I've been told about to wait for, to be, virtuous and all these things people are told. Yeah, so that was Gide. I'm lost in between. Oh my God! Now from there it becomes tug of war. Every other song wants a space. But every song is so special for me in that album. It's how we went to the studio. It's how we looked for the money. It's all those things, you know. But I really love a song called Salama on the album because it was really. I remember like that song really captures who I am as a person. It captures my calmness, my relaxation. Like it really, it's a timeless vibe for me. Even when I feel like I don't have it within me, it keeps me going. No, because it was really a concept album, so I knew right on from the beginning I did not want to write a song called Kionja. Not to say I didn't try, but my songwriting process says I am an instrument. I am also a vessel. So tune, you melody, you know words. Come sail on this vessel. Let me experience you. Let me transform yourself through me, transfer yourself to the world through me. So there's never time for that. I'm walking in the street, sometimes I look like a madman because I'm singing
the melody when it comes
yeah, I'm just like me. I'm like, why are we at what? We're not going to stop this. So that's really my process, that I'm open to the vibe. When the vibe comes, I am the vibes, I am one with the vibe. I rarely schedule and say I'm gonna sit down and write. Like that's not, I do a lot of edits later though, of course. So develop the song, develop the music. But my process is really that it's an open vessel, and I'm an instrument. So play me. I just use my phone. Like, yeah, please, oh God, what you have me kwanza ata where? Yeah, we've lost lots of millions. Plus we should be rich by now, But anyway, so I use whatever recording equipment is close by, and I try and record as much as I can, and then from there now we at least have the vibe. Yeah, many times I have collaborated with people. They have helped me understand what I was trying to say better. They've helped me say that better. I love that. I love collaborating. I love sitting down with someone and be like, this is what I have. No shame. To other creatives out there, please don't be ashamed. Like, don't be ashamed to sit down with someone and be like, this is what I was thinking. If they say, okay, maybe your thoughts could be better, great. Ask them how, and embrace the learning process. I love working with other people because they sharpen my instrument, and then they also they are they're instruments themselves. So sometimes two instruments playing together, it just sounds beautiful. I feel like most of my collaborations have been with producers. Like, producers help me, they're doing the production really, but other than that, there are producers who have helped me figure out my singing style. Others have helped me figure out, because recording is different from performance, right? So do I write for other people? Let's see. I have written for other people, yes. I want to write for other people more than I have, I guess. Yeah, but that's hopefully in the plans, and it's gonna materialize. Best experience was when I got to travel to Canada and like all the provinces there and the US and did a whole tour. And that happened because at the time I was in the choir, so this was a tour with the choir, and I learned so much. I saw so much. The world is so beautiful. Go see it. Really the best of my experiences. What else? My worst experience? Not sure it's for the camera, but if I can think of anything now. Wow. I guess it's like when you're doing a performance and it's not working. That's always hard.
We could rephrase it. What drains you as an artist?
That definitely drains me when the pieces are not, fitting, and I'm not realizing that is the pieces that are not fitting. It's not me, because sometimes we're very quick to say it's me, and forget that the pieces are also part of the composition. So yeah, mostly like just anything that does not elevate the craft, does not elevate the genius in the craft. Also, just anywhere I'm being compared. This is what are you doing, star, madam? Stop! I am me. Stop it. Yeah, the grace of God. Really, it's not me. It's not me. It's not. I could have done so many things wrong. It's really, for me, it's the grace of God. There's nothing else. Maybe for me, the opportunity is in people, because people are the opportunity. And there's some people I've met who have really steered me forward. Especially people who get the vision. For one, like the person I collaborated with for the videos that I just put out, the three videos that I'm putting out. That was quite interesting for me. What else? I mean, there are other people who have come through for me through sustenance, providence, like they keep you alive.
Yeah.
Or they give you things that keep you alive, right? So those are, they still keep the dream alive because you're alive. So those ones for me matter. Sometimes it's my neighbor. Sometimes, I think of it that way. That's how I value the opportunities through the people, because they help me to continue the work. Yeah. Sadly, I can't say it's a big deal from Universal. They came, they wanted, The pandemic helped me, I guess, become a better artist. It did. Because I had more time to sit with myself and not do the rat race. I had more time to focus on how I want to do things, and then what things do I want to stop doing, what new behaviors and activities do I want to take on. The funny thing is, I was already working remotely and from home even before that, so it wasn't a big of a shock. Yeah, I mean, the pandemic for me, it was just, I guess the difference was that now the environment around me had shifted, and I felt like now I was at the same pace with most of my community. So that helped me, I guess, at the time. Okay, I would say it's definitely in my goals for this year to at least work with a band. I want to say, like, a hesitant no, but that's an opportunity I'm willing to like explore. It hasn't happened yet. Yeah. Being a musician can be, because being at that time, if we're talking being a musician as being a business owner, possible. Yeah, but not being a musician, because business. Where's the business? Be a business. Be a musician, but then think like a business. Think like a business. Think of yourself as a startup. Explore what needs to, all that, because everything is gonna cost. All the makeup, all the videography, the content creation, it's gonna cost you. So what's your income? What's your expenditure? Where can you trade? Yeah, because there's no, which labels are here in this country and who are they working with? We all can't be scrambling for the label. 2 words: collective bargaining. So if you're an artist, you must belong to a collective. You must belong to a community. If you're by yourself, where are you gonna start, right? So haba na haba hujaza kibaba, that's my thing. Harambe philosophy, do that thing. So that if you're struggling and I'm struggling, when we come together we solve problems, right? So get together with people, solve problems, change your lives. Yeah, there's no crying about it. So when you say make a living, no, me, I'm a bit of a philosopher. It goes back to make a life, right? So yes, I would like music to make a life through music, right? I want my music to be the soundtrack to people's lives. I think I've seen that happen, you know. It's up for us to discover. Time reveals everything. Time reveals everything. Picasso, was he talented? Was he outstanding? Did he die doing that? Maybe he did internally, but did the world know that at the same time that he knew timing? You see what I mean? Pressure is good. Pressure breeds diamond. I encourage people to take pressure and work with it. It's not a yes or no, it's not a black and white thing. But I encourage you to be aware of it when it's happening and then decide for yourself what you're going to do with the pressure. You can quit because of the pressure. You can keep going and produce best results during pressure times. You can wait for inspiration when you have no pressure and nothing comes. Like I said, this world for me is perfect because all these things are tools that we can use and transform to our benefits. Change. I like to work with change. I use change as a tool. Introduce change in your life. When you feel like you're stuck, introduce change in your life. Be like, oh my God, I used to wake up at 6, now wake up at 10. I used to wake up at 2 a.m., now wake up at 4 a.m. Oh, what was I doing with my time? I never used to really track my time. So now let me track my time. So use an app that can help you do that. Oh, I never used to share my emotions and feelings and express myself. Oh, get a friend. Like, Betty, today we're going to discuss something. It's called me. Change. Introduce change in your life. Introduce change in your relationships. Trust that it could change. It's the ghetto. But it's something, right? Like, you'll only be young once. I'll only be, me this at this time. But it's also a timeless thing. You can be young forever, to be honest. What you do here determines a lot. So just invest in your spirit, invest in yourself, do the inner work, know yourself, be yourself in every room. If you're a child, if you carry the spirit of a child, it is okay. Carry the spirit of a child to your 80s, right? I don't think you can say that being young is, I don't really like to compare it to anything else. I just like to, one of my values is growth. So me, I'm the first person who's like, this year I'm going to be older. That is a joy, right? Because I always think about, I can't go back to who I was because I didn't know what I didn't know then. Of course, some people will be like, I did not want to know this. I knew too much. But I think you have to also trust in the capacity of your development. Trust in that you're growing to larger, bigger, better. Trust that, or see that for yourself and visualize that for yourself. Bigger, larger, better could mean many things. It doesn't have to be materialistic. It can be, I'm going to have a bigger heart. I'm going to have a bigger mindset. I'm going to have a bigger, experience of life. When I stand out there in the balcony, I have a bigger, deeper, truer experience of life. I can see nature for what it is. I can absorb nature for what it is. I can listen to the wind. All those things. When I go out and I pick a boda or I pick a matatu, bigger, larger, better, it's possible. It doesn't have to always be materialistic. If it is materialistic, we do not mind it. We actually encourage it. And we love it and we want it. So I think just accepting your whole person. If you're 23, you are a whole 23 person. Don't mind about being a 28 whole person. You will never know until you are 28 whole and young, Information. There's like no information to how to be an independent musician in Kenya. That was just the problem. If we knew how to be independent, because you see, me, I came up at a time when people were talking about labels. At the time, what's this place? Penya Africa was a label. Yeah, there's Kina Khalif, there's Ketable, there were some labels, right? So it was possible to believe that you can be signed by a label at the time. Or management. I think it's just information. If you have information, you know what to do, or where to start, what to knock, what doors to knock. I wish I also understood the value of a team at the time when I was starting out. I understood the value of community, just not the value of a team. That was two things. I didn't understand that I needed to be a business. You need to understand that. Okay, that would then be, oh my god, there's a couple. So there's Shauri Yako. It's really anything after the Kionjo project. Anything after the Kionjo project, which is Shauri Yako, which is a song I did with Mura. First of all, that one was so interesting because I was trying something new. It was the electronic scene. It was amazing. I didn't understand that people actually, even today, still are like, that you're the one who did the... I'm like, yeah, it is me. It is I have come back. How I connect with my audience, that's so interesting. You know me, actually. The thing is, I'm not really a social media person. Although I'm a social media person. That can be left for translation. But I really connect with people physically. I love that. I love being in the room and feeling energy. Social media, for me, the problem is I can't feel energy as an empath. I think that's a struggle for many artists. So you end up doing what you've seen being done. So it's not really what's authentic to you. And that's what I'm trying to change and work on. Just be a bit more authentic. But now, how I'm connecting with my audience is through my website, which I just launched. That's the best way, because now I have a mailing list and I have a newsletter that I send out every month. So yeah, sign up on the website. Yeah, or drop me your email on my DM. I don't mind. Whatever you see, Kuiyu, anything, Urcha email address. Be like, I want in. I got you. For love, listen to my music. That's it.
Is everything there?
That everything is there, or it will be there. For life, wow. For life, you'd have to listen to my upcoming podcast. It's a lot. No, like it's a lot, honestly. So I'm working on a podcast. It's called The Interesting People Poddy, and I talk to people who I find interesting, and we find each other interesting, so we have conversations. So that's gonna be coming out soon. I don't know when. Don't ask me. We will know. And the other thing is identity. That one I'm very passionate about. If you are keen on my captions and stuff, I'm very curious about identity, because that's also something I have personally had to define for myself. I think everyone needs to define their own identity for themselves. And the only way you can do that is if you're true to yourself. In so many ways, that's the only way. Be true to yourself. It's not easy, but you have to make a resolution to overcome. Overcome is a real word. Like you actually, you start from A, you get to Z. Hapo in between, what happens? That's overcoming, right? And the in between is a daily thing, right? Yeah. So in fact, that's what motivated my new album called In Between. So I go into all these things about love life and even identity. Truly, I didn't even know how you brought that up, but In Between defines for me things I've learned, things I'm unlearning. I highly tell everyone, like, warning, listen to the actual lyrics. Yes, there will be vibes, but please listen if you really want to harvest. It's the same way you can look at the book. You can't say, I've looked at that book, it's so nice, I understood it. You gotta read the book. So for me, identity, please define who you are to yourself. It's not easy, I know that for sure, but the beauty about your occurrence, your being here, your being alive, is that you matter. So no matter how bad you think it is, just go back to, do you remember I matter? You face rejection, you're like, but I still matter.
Yeah.
You face, all sorts of hurdles. You have to keep reminding yourself, I matter. So at the core of your identity is that you matter, right? And then now define what works for you, what doesn't work for you. I think the biggest challenge we have with identity is that people are too comfortable. You also don't want to deal with the truth. Really, you don't have to be anything. You could wake up and do nothing, and then you wait 2 weeks, you die. If you do that consistently, si unakufanga. Yeah. But the truth is, you can do it. So it's what you do. It's the choices you make. It's the chances you take. Are you willing to bet on yourself? That's true identity. Am I willing to bet on myself? Yeah. Don't be reactionary. When someone tells you something about you, you're like, okay. Don't react at all. Or you think, okay. Sometimes I love language because language tells you how to navigate life. It's a real tool. So when you find yourself in a space where you're still in development, you have to acknowledge that, number one, I'm still in development. I'm a work in progress. So today we are not at point A, today we are at point L, or we are at point P. We're still gonna try and get to Z, or maybe Z is not even real. When we get to Z, we realize it takes us to another alphabet in hieroglyphics. And we have to keep going. You get it?
Yeah.
So good. You just keep going. Self-love is the best love. Please, it's not just a slogan. It really is. Because you cannot give from an empty cup. You cannot give from an empty cup. You can only give what you know. You can only say things you know. You can only share from your experience or observation, which still forms your experience, right? The problem I think we have is we're just not, how do I put it? Do you really want to love yourself? Like, ask yourself that. What does that mean for me? How do I, before I even say I want someone to love me, but how do I love me, right? What do I love about me? You have to think about all those things. So introspection for me is a great gift. So going inward and being quiet. Sometimes sherehe ni mzuri, lakini don't keep sherehing and block your progress, you know. Just balance things. Just try and balance. If you're an emotional decision maker, how do you become a better emotional decision maker? Just how do you become better? I think being self-love is self-awareness. So you have to every day wake up, say, Leo, today I'm going to be this person. And then tomorrow remind yourself. And the next day. Because sometimes you go to sleep and you forget that person in bed. Right? So I think for me, it's a matter of, do you remember we had a meeting, an internal meeting, na tukasema kwa hii baraza, Kuiyu is gonna be this and this and that. Kwa hiyo meeting tukasema tutakuwa tunafuatilia kila siku. Sasa leo, mbona, sasa wewe, Kuiyu, unataka nini? Hebu kesho ufanye better. You know, being also very compassionate to yourself, even when you blunder. And you will blunder. In fact, you're going to blunder so many times. Don't let that then define you. Don't be like me, I blunder all the time. Then what about the times you didn't blunder? So can you change the narrative? Masculine, feminine energy. Masculine energy is doing. It's known to be very active. Feminine energy is known to be being. You're in a state, you're in your feelings, you're vulnerable. So you can't say I'm a man, I'm masculine. Hallelujah. Where? How? Which? Are you serious? Because you're the doer and you're the feeler. You have both those two things. The yin and yang is inside you. Right? So it's a matter of balance. Are you making a decision out of action? So is it a reaction based on action or a reaction based on feeling? Right? So you have to just think of all those things are good. They are good. It's good. It's good to feel. It's good to do. Right? I'll give you an example. When you love someone, you feel for that person. When you're in bed with that person, you're intimate. You're doing things to that person. It's not really, I mean, it could even be happening at the same time, right? Your feeling and doing happens. So I think when we talk about decision making, people want things to be so black and white. Don't be an emotional decision maker. Don't be, come on, take it easy on yourself. Sit with your emotions. Ask yourself, is this what's best for me? Is this what's best for the things I've set out for myself in this time? It's not easy. I know this, but we have to keep trying. And if you don't try if you try today and fail, tomorrow again, repeat until your brain gets the formula inakuwa okay, sawa. Program yourself. Why not? The TV is already programming you. Program yourself. Yeah. Just build up the confidence to be yourself. That's always where you start and where you can always call home. I think defining home for yourself. What is my home? Who is my home? Who belongs in my home? That's necessary. So just find your self first and then build confidence in that person and then leave the rest to, you know, the world and the universe. You can find me on Instagram at Kuiyu Creates, Kuiyu Creates, and that's the same for Twitter. You can find me on my website, like find my stuff through my website. Like I said, I have a new podcast coming out, new music, new album, lots really. So www.kuiyucreates.com. Send me, you know, a message when you see something you like and let me know how it feels, how it makes you feel, because I love feedback. I'm on Spotify, I'm on everywhere you find your music really, or even Audio Mac, SoundCloud. So please play my music. And again, let me know how it makes you feel, where it takes you, what thoughts come, and yeah.